Hello and welcome to the final cut, half cut, with me, Jason Winter, and my good friend Nick. How are you, Nick?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm alright, mate. I'm about as positive and happy as quarantine can make you. And just watching a lot of crap on telly, doing a lot of cooking, a lot of decorating, a lot of DIYing.
Nice.
Obsessed with buying bike parts on eBay and getting a really cool bike, so that's something I'm working on.
Nice.
What about yourself? Just wallowing?
I've gotten really into wrestling again.
Physically or as an observer?
Like as an observer, and it's not even like I was interested when I was young.
Right.
So I can't even be like, oh, I used to like it. I've gotten into wrestling, like as an adult.
That's fine, mate.
Which it's not.
It's not, but I mean,
there's nothing worse than an adult wrestling fan.
Yeah.
But that's me now.
Yeah, I've got to admit, like when I was a kid, so my favourite toys were Batman, Lego, and Power Rangers. I quite like Transformers. I just like the whole, you can have like a polar bear that turns into a robot man. Beast Wars Fusion, they were sick. What I didn't like was wrestling and Star Wars, which is the topic of today's podcast. See that seamless corporate segue there?
Wrestling.
This is
about wrestling.
No, we're not talking about wrestling, people. We're talking about Star Wars Episode 9, the franchise in general, and a bit of Disney stuff, and curiously, the new lockdown row between Universal and basically all the cinemas over the world, which is really strange, but obviously, are cinemas even going to be a thing going forward? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, well, yeah, I appreciate you like wrestling, mate. What about wrestling, curiously, as an art form? Because obviously I'm purist. I've told you about this. I see wrestling the same way I see musicals. The thing is, right, is breaking the reality of the scene. Like, obviously, I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I love extreme violence and things in action films and superhero films that could never happen physically, in terms of physics. So, emotionally, I'm just a bit, I'll hold my sexist hands up there and say I didn't get musicals, and also wrestling. I don't know if you've been told yet, but it's not actually real.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Oh, right, cool, yeah.
Well, it's it's the same reason. Like, I will never say I am right for enjoying wrestling.
Yeah.
But it's the same reason why, like, I've got a sister and she watches like The Only Way Is Essex.
Yeah.
It's obviously fake.
Yeah.
And really, really dumb. And wrestling is obviously fake and really, really dumb. That's her dumb. This is my dumb.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I can't judge because as long as like their reality is all this stuff's happening.
Yeah.
Like this person sleeping with this person, blah blah blah. My reality is this is a zombie man who once a month gives people pile drivers.
Right. That's pretty cool.
And is controlled by a nerd.
Nick, you know me, mate.
His brother.
Right. No, go on. Please tell me all of the characters.
Yeah, and so and his brother is Kane, and to me, this is real.
Yeah.
For this hour-long program.
In that moment,
this is great. Yeah. It's a reality TV with backflips, basically.
Nice.
And I love it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Well, you know me, mate. No judgment here. This is a safe space of creative endeavour.
Yeah.
I don't know what I love. I mean, that's all right. Okay, I mean, wrestling's cool. What do you think of Star Wars, Nick? Are you a Star Wars fan?
It's a really good way to sell toys.
Indeed. Did you know, interestingly, talking about those toys there, that Star Wars, so a couple of things, was on Disney Plus the other day. Obviously, I watched the latest Star Wars film that we're going to come on to. Spoilers ahead, people. If you're a massive Star Wars fan that hasn't gone to see Star Wars Episode 9 already, well, you're not really a fucking massive Star Wars fan, are you? Because if you don't know what happens already, get the fuck out. It's been out for months. No, but spoilers ahead. If you, for some reason, haven't seen it, want to see it, and don't, why are you listening to this? Go away. No, don't. We need. Well, I want followers later. That's the whole point of this. So yes, I was watching Star Wars. I watched The Empire of Dreams as well, about the creation of Star Wars. And a little did you know, one of Jason's little factoids is so like stuff like Star Wars and He-Man, like obviously massive merchandising successes in the 70s.
That's a very weird, yeah, and like those. That's the other one you bring out.
Like yeah, but like that's the
Star
biggest
Wars,
one.
And what is equal to Star Wars? He-Man. That's obviously
He-Man was
first
sick.
one.
He-Man by the power of
First
Grayskull. And Skeletor. What? I had a head of English at my school was actually Skeletor. No, that's not true. That's me. She was just very mean. Anyway. And yeah, an Action Man. So basically, back in the 70s, little business toy merchandise thing. Transformers was the first ever franchise designed with the TV and films made after the merchandising. So they completely, as an entire package, designed the toys first, going, right, yeah, then we'll make the cartoons. And then they made the cartoons once they knew that the toys would actually transform. So that's an interesting. That is how cynical Transformers is. It was never a thing before the executives came along and went, we're going to do this the other way round. And then, obviously, the franchise being saved many years later by the masterful auteur Michael Bay.
I know, you can call it a money grabbing thing as much as you want, but when Optimus Prime died, that will still hurt me at the time.
To be fair, in the Michael Bay films, I've got a real thing for like really small, because I love dance music and stuff. I really love the like minor, very, like the what am I trying to get at? The 3D-ness, the sonic nature of his voice. So the way that they make his voice 3D, and the performance added with the technology to do that, like that's why I really like. I like the really small like kind of bits of how they ground that character, and that's very, very central to Optimus Prime and the Transformers, franchise. He sounds like he's like a robot.
Yeah.
Nice geezer. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like the idea of Optimus Prime.
But we shouldn't give that shitty fucking film series any more attention than it
No,
deserves.
we shouldn't. We should come on to a slightly better
Another
science fiction.
Another shitty series of film.
Yeah, Star Wars is up there, mate. I think Star Wars is quite a lot better than Transformers, but it's the benchmark for.
Well, maybe the first three, maybe.
Right. Okay.
The original trilogy, yeah. Then it goes downhill.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. So, right. So we are about to talk about Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. If you haven't seen it, please, we're going to talk about it in detail now. I'll give you 5 seconds.
There will also be spoilers for the entire trilogy.
Other films. All the Star Wars. If you like the idea of Star Wars, haven't watched any Star Wars yet, and on the 11th of May 2020 want to go and fucking watch the entire Star Wars franchise, then A, you're lazy. I'm disappointed in you. What else have you been doing with your time? It's like you like music and you haven't heard Michael Jackson. Like, go home. We probably are home. I hope you're home. So, Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Nick, did you like the film?
I watched it 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I barely remember anything I watched.
See, I liked it. I liked the idea of first spoiler, big bad guy is the Emperor Palpatine. We haven't seen for the whole of these films. This new film is pretty much detached from the entire. Like, it just feels so far removed from the last one that like they went, do you know what? We got to wrap this shit up. We're gonna make a load of money, and do we really care anymore? It's got so much money.
I think it's important to bring up that throughout the last 2 films, the main villain had been a guy called Snoke.
Yep.
And he was basically supposed to be the main focus.
Yeah.
And at the end of the last film, or the end of the second film, Kylo Ren kills Emperor Snoke. So what they do is they have a main villain who they kill, and then they say Kylo Ren's going to be the main villain.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. And then at the beginning of the final film, they say neither of those guys are the villain. It's a guy we've not mentioned for 2 films.
Yeah, and hasn't
Just all
been.
of a sudden.
Yeah, it was. It's too much of a stretch, really. I mean, obviously the voice work, the gravitas, and the sort of moodiness. I really liked the shot, the wide angle shot when Kylo Ren and the repeated shot when Rey goes down there of the nature of him descending into this pit, and the idea of the Emperor having fallen in Episode 6 to that like physically in terms of the character and like that whole Frankenstein nature to it was cool for about 10 seconds, and then I went, yeah, they've had to import this character because they realised they wrote themselves into a corner and had nowhere to go at the end of the second film, in terms of the big bad. Because for me, every time I watch Kylo Ren, I'm like, you're a fucking depressed emo kid with too much money whose parents let him do whatever he wanted, and you just seem like a petulant child, not Darth Vader Mark II. Like, he just simply wasn't scary enough. Like, Darth Vader's whole thing.
Well, in defense of Kylo Ren, I think that is what they were trying to get at.
Right.
That's why he's always like having like strops.
Yeah.
And, like,
but that's not good.
So.
That's not good enough for the central plot of why someone wants to destroy half of a galaxy and blow up planets and fucking murder people. Like, I just feel like we've all got ambitions. Like, okay, my LinkedIn page isn't as good as I want it to be, but I'm not going to go blow up a hospital, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so the film is essentially about Rey, coming good on her destiny, and Kylo Ren sort of. He's emotionally completely imbalanced, and obviously it's like this. It's just the classic third film war film, like big action sequence with a central fight. But it really annoyed me because there essentially wasn't a big lightsaber battle between the good and the true evil. It was just this manipulation of Kylo Ren. And I don't know, like, I don't want to ruin it all, but basically he gets. Should we ruin it all? Yeah, okay, yeah. So fucking Leia, obviously we know Carrie Fisher dies halfway through this production. It creates a massive issue, but not the issue of why they had this big bad problem with the bad guys. But obviously with Carrie Fisher gone, they had to convolute the end half of the script together. So they go, right, well, how are we going to get to this point without any substance in this central character? So basically, she like force bonds with Kylo Ren to make him good. So it's like Leia's living within him, and then like he helps save Rey, and then fucking the Emperor drains all their power, and then he basically saves her at the end, and then he disappears and dies, and then Leia dies as well. And that's meant to be the emotional anchor of the film. That's meant to be the moment you go fuck, and then everything goes da 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 da. Or whatever, fucking John Williams, and then things get better, and there's meant to be this massive lift like you get in the last Star Wars, Episode 6, and you didn't get that. You saw a bedsheet go down. The emotional beats of the film are very, very. I'll tell you what it feels like. It feels like when someone you care about is on cocaine, and you know that they're the same person that you care about, but there's this barrier between them actually registering with the emotional beats of something. And it feels cold, it feels clinical and cold, and just not it doesn't feel like it's someone made this film because they loved it. And I know we disagree on George Lucas's input in terms of our perspective on all that, but ostensibly,
yeah, I mean, you respect him. I think he's a hack fraud. But,
okay, so I just don't believe that it's made with a lot of love. I think they had to wrap it up. Yes, obviously they had production problems because of Carrie Fisher's passing, but they clearly had problems with the plot before that.
Well, I think you can make direct parallels with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they've planned the entire storyline for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And they're still planning ahead, so they know how every character is going to end up, how relationships are going to be affected.
Yeah.
And when you compare that to Star Wars, where they've clearly done no planning,
No.
where everything's written by different people, and you can see in characters constantly, like Rose was a huge part in the second film,
Yep.
and now in the third film, she's got nothing.
Mm.
Like, there are characters who are built up to be like pretty powerful, and then they do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, there are like storylines just come out of nowhere. Like, the amount of times in the third film the characters are just given something that solves all their problems.
Yeah.
It happens like 3 times.
Yeah, it's very.
The little chip and the dagger, like, they just find them. There's
Yeah,
no planning between the films. It's just kind of, and here we go.
Yeah, very coincidental. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone hated the second film. I quite liked it, and so they decided to get rid of the director, get a new director, and have the writer of Batman versus Superman to fix everything. A film everyone hated.
Yeah.
Like,
Is that David S. Goyer though?
No, it's not David S. Goyer. It's some kid.
Right. Because I was going to say David S. Goyer writes everything, but I totally agree with you. Like it's
Chris Sierra.
Okay. I agree with you. I think they acquired Star Wars and they just wanted to make a load of money. It feels very much. There's 2 parallels I'd like to bring up. One, The Dark Knight Rises, where Christopher Nolan's a meticulous and highly respected film director, but with Heath Ledger's passing, obviously he wasn't able to make the film he'd made with the intention, so you haven't got very far to go with that, and you can excuse some of the detail in the last half or third act of the film, but there's a lot of problems there with a lot of characters they didn't use. I feel like there's some kind of political democratic not to get too political, but in between America and China, a lot of these trade wars have been affecting a lot of industries, and it's interesting to see the political fallout around. What's your term for it, Nick? What did you call it? The shitty progressivism or lame progressivism with the lesbian kiss?
I don't know. It's just. Oh, you're talking about
cowardly progressivism. They want to look good.
Cowardly progression.
Yeah, so, but then they need to placate all these governments. Yeah.
Yeah, so because I think like a big part, like how Finn and Poe, they're gay.
Yeah.
Great. Good. Make them gay. That'll be great. But obviously, they can't have them be gay because of China. So they introduced 2 random love interests in the third film who, again, don't really do anything to show you these men aren't gay. And then to make sure that, they still support homosexuality, have 2 women kiss in the background.
Yeah, which the Chinese government went crazy about.
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting, there's another element with the whole, I didn't like, we thought that Finn and Rose had a thing in the second film, and Rose was obviously a massively popular and important character to why.
I would say she was popular.
Well, no, she was popular. She was massively popular with Asian markets and stuff.
Yeah, but she got sent death threats, dude.
Yeah, I know, but that's because of the geopolitical, nature of.
No, bro, no, it was nothing to do with that. It's because she ruins that, dude. Men, children hate her.
Right. Okay.
And it's not because of anything to do with politics. It's because she's like a woman.
Oh, right. Well, but it's all political. But we can agree that there's so many characters not utilised in this third film. Also, just the plot suffers because of that. Because the expectation from the audience is, right, we're going to see Rose's character develop and do some kind of quirky thing behind the scenes, a bit like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, like crawling through the things and doing it behind the scenes. But those little victories.
At the very least, she's in the adventure. She's not at base.
Yeah.
Hanging around.
But it does upset me that they didn't. They really didn't. The point of this is, with all of those ideas and all the things that they'd explored, you would have thought, like when people say. If you're going to do another trilogy of Star Wars, Like, I come away from thinking of all the films and going, right, so you were teasing getting to this point, and then there was no real substance from A to B, and now we're at the end of the story, and I look back and I go, right, so all those three films, what did it add to the franchise?
I don't know, probably a couple billion at the very least.
Yeah, but beyond that, in terms of story, in terms of characters, it's a complete format reprint of it's not even a remake because it's the outline of the original trilogy, using all this nostalgia in order to just generate money, which I liked the darkness of the. Like I said, I like that wide angle shot and the way that Kylo Ren bowls it in there, and then he's like, "I'll fuck you up, Emperor," and I like that dynamic. But there was some elements there that for 10 seconds or half a minute or two, I was liking it, and I went, right, okay, what are you gonna do with this? And then they go, not a lot, and da 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 da, we won. See you later. And it's like, Jesus Christ, you fucked off quicker than the fucking Millennium Falcon with that money, and just disappointed really with the whole thing.
It also makes so many questions about, like, so Jedi can heal now.
Yeah, that was fucked
up. That
up.
would have been useful so many times.
Yeah, it's that thing. When I saw that,
he's fine.
Exactly. Also Darth Vader would have never been Darth Vader if he's the most powerful being on the planet, no, in the universe. If that was the case, then why didn't he force heal himself and be like, yeah, by fucking Jesus, like that? That's what he should be. We should write an alternative Star Wars.
Also, wouldn't Padme, like, I'm pretty sure they can, if they can heal stab wounds, I'm pretty sure they can heal, whatever happened to Padme in the films.
Oh, yeah. You know what that is?
So many questions.
It's that when I watched that, I went, oh, this is the Lord of the Rings Eagles again. I was like, this is fucking bullshit. But obviously, if they had
Jesus.
Yeah. But obviously, if they had fucking eagles at the start, there would be no Lord of the Rings because there would be no story. We went on a flight. We chucked a piece of jewellery into a volcano. Then we came home for 11s. I guess it's about the ambition of vision and whether or not creative people are willing to go for it or not. And we fundamentally disagree on just a brief thing. During the whole lockdown, I've been very greedy with having Netflix and Amazon Prime already, but I've also now got Disney Plus, because why not? And I wanted to see the new Star Wars. Wanted to watch all the Simpsons. Watching the classic Simpsons episodes back again, when you can get all
the only Simpsons that are worth watching.
Yeah, with all the adult jokes is just a fucking joy because it's like. They're just so perfectly scripted, but then to be able to get all the jokes I didn't get when I was like 8 years old, it's like, oh, this is amazing. But yeah, so Disney Plus was interesting. I don't want to bore you, Nick, but it's something that interests me. I mean, I watched The Empire of Dreams, which is about the original making of Star Wars with George Lucas, and it was really interesting to get the perspective of all the cast and crew. The first hour of the documentary is about the first film, and I come at this. Sorry if any Star Wars fans are offended at our review of the recent film, or of what I'm going to say about the Star Wars franchise in general. But I was never drawn to it as a child. Don't know why. We can't say why I liked Batman and Power Rangers over fucking Star Wars and wrestling. You liked wrestling, other people go absolutely wild for Star Wars. It's all about what gets you first and what takes your imagination and what you get hooked on and all the nostalgic sort of psychology there. But as someone that is creative and with ambition, it was very, very interesting to see how everybody employed in this production just didn't take it seriously. They didn't think it was going to be anything. They thought it'll come out, a couple of nerds will watch it, like with the Flash Gordon film or whatever, and it will fade into obscurity, or be a cult classic, but it's not going to make any money, and it's not going to change my life. Like, it's just a paid job for a couple of months. Off I go. And I've just got to tell this one little bit about that documentary that blew me away. It's just the whole thing of it. You know, obviously, John Williams. I listen to some John Williams. I'm a bit of a nerd with soundtracks. I love soundtracks. I got this weird movie soundtrack album when I was about 15, and it really like sort of, I don't know, just really caught me. And you know, things like the Shaft theme tune or whatever. I just love listening to classic orchestral and funky beats, mate. And obviously John Williams is a fucking legend, and that is unquestionable in terms of how good the original score is for Star Wars. Is, you know, there's a reason why they don't change it. It's iconic. It is iconic. And just this one moment with this, so they had Harrison Ford being like, well, he knew it was a bit of a vehicle for him to be in the leading man. Carrie Fisher was 19. Mark Hamill just wanted a job, and he was just happy to be acting and getting paid for it. But this really was just George Lucas's baby. And so they shot the whole thing. Go and watch Empire of Dreams. It's just such a good documentary. And this model makers just sat there going, yeah, we didn't really think it was anything. It was a paid job at the time, but blowing up little starships and trying to time it right for this guy that's like just going mad, like needing to get this film done. I really didn't think it was going to be anything. It's just a cult classic. But obviously, when we shot it all, we didn't have any of the music or any of it edited together. So all we saw was the raw footage, and we were all just messing around. And then it just has the opening moment of the first Star Wars, of just the way that they edit. Even today, there is no film like any Marvel franchise brand. The only thing that I realised what Star Wars is doing is it takes the James Bond theme tune and it turns it up even more, because James Bond is classic in the 60s for getting the dun 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 dun. It has a official sequence which every film has to follow. Yeah, not even Marvel superhero films have that, but Star Wars has. Bam, bam, you know, and you get the fucking logo, and it starts telling you, in a galaxy far, far away, blah blah blah, and
it's iconic. Like, it's been parodied like so many times, and that if you're being parodied, it means you've kind of
smashed
achieved.
It. Yeah. So basically, like, I don't get emotionally. I just, you watch Star Wars and you accept it as this established thing, as the most established film franchise beyond the Terminator, beyond the Matrix, beyond Back to the Future, beyond anything. It's the one. And so I as a person, like, I'm disappointed at the latest sequels and prequels as well, and I know a lot of people have been, and that's not me being a super fan, but as someone that's wanted to be a writer and who loves film in general, to see the strength of vision, to see how much debt that George Lucas was getting in, and that no one believed in the idea, and then to create the biggest selling film of all time, and just have this little model maker guy just like, yeah, and they do the intro, and then this model maker's like, yeah, I just cried. And he was just like, it was the most incredible thing, and to be a part of it, and it's changed their lives. And it's just moments like that in sort of pop culture history that when you see something like that, I was like, okay, as much as I don't appreciate the latest films, like, I want to go back and watch the originals. I really appreciate it for the phenomena and for the sort of the idea of, like, it means so much to so many people. And that's amazing. So that's why the documentary blew me away. So that's my take. That's my take for. Don't go and watch the new Star Wars film. Go and watch the making of, behind the scenes of the original. Yeah. Are you on Disney Plus yet, Nick?
No, I don't want to give Disney money. They've got enough as is.
Good point. Good point.
I don't support the clout. I don't support the mouse.
Yeah. Very well. Walt Disney was a legend. But anyway, So yeah, I mean, have you got any other points or thoughts on the franchise in general? I mean, we can sort of. I mean, I think we've basically covered it, but what?
I mean, I have thoughts, but we'd need like a 4-hour podcast. It'd just be me
Yeah,
ranting about how they need to make Knights of the Old Republic canon. But
right,
other than that, I've got nothing to bring up.
right. Sounds interesting, mate. Well,
It's really not. It's really not interesting.
I
It's
think
just
it's a
me drunkenly yelling.
yeah. That's fair play. I will agree with you there. Let's just say neither of us know. I mean, you clearly know more about Star Wars than me. I just sort of
I don't know much about Star Wars.
no,
I've never been into it.
no, me neither. So right, that's our Star Wars review.
So
It was
you've
okay.
just heard two people who don't really care about Star Wars talk about Star Wars, just with no interest in it
Well,
whatsoever.
that's what I don't understand is that from an outsider perspective, right? Fair enough. Yeah, I can go as a casual observer. It's a bit like boxing. It's like I'll watch the heavyweight stuff, but I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'm not following 10 middleweight, welterweight, lightweight, super heavyweight fighters. Like, I'm there watching bloody Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, and like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much content out in the world now, whether it's sport or whether it's film, TV. There is so much to watch. You physically can't watch it all. Like, you just can't. So you have to pick and choose. And obviously, Star Wars never grabbed me, but I have watched all of the films, and I'm a casual observer that has some kind of inkling, and I know, regardless of being a super fan or not, whether or not they've really tried. And it's clear that, like, I don't know, it's a bit of an argument versus like a corporate approach. Like, you know, like I said to you earlier, I'd rather a Jar Jar Binks or two in there, as long as we're doing mad shit, than just a beat by beat fucking uh, very sort of just succinct story that we got out of the last one.
I'll just say the new sequel trilogy is so much better than the prequels. The prequels are awful.
Oh, you really gonna say that?
I am easily saying that. Prequels have good world building, but that is it. There is nothing. It's just people talking for hours on end.
Alright, yeah, good point. Yeah, there's a lot of we've got to have a negotiation. And it's like
It's
fuck.
just trade meetings.
Yeah, okay. Alright, good point. It's like George Lucas wanted to live in his own alternate universe.
Yeah.
He should have sold it to Disney at that point, going, yeah, I'll make you 3 more movies. Sold it for $4 billion back then, and then literally built his own fucking satellite and lived in space. He should have. Yeah. Anyway, right. Star Wars. That's basically done. If you hate us, I will contact you with Nick's address and not mine. Another little thing I wanted to come on to. Another little thing I wanted to come on to during lockdown is the whole nature of cinemas and the argument going on at the moment because of COVID-19. So there is a situation going on because of Trolls World Tour. So there was an article I read on The Guardian a couple of weeks ago, and this is ongoing and still a massive row. Basically, it says here Universal Pictures has made the most aggressive of Hollywood studios with its strategy for Trolls World Tour. The film has been due for a global cinema release on the 10th of April, but instead became the most high-profile movie to be made available solely on digital services such as Amazon Prime Video at £15.99. Universal gets a greater cut of revenue from digital services than at the box office, which means the film has made the same amount of profit in its first 3 weeks as the first Trolls film did during its entire 5-month run in US cinemas. Oh, so basically, the film has said, Jeff Shell, the chief executive of the parent company NBC Universal, said, as soon as theatres reopen, we expect to release movies on both platforms. So the problem is that basically cinemas have turned around and gone, you can't fucking do that, because the deal is that all films get released for, like, say, 2 months, or at least a month, or whatever their agreement is, exclusively through cinemas. So cinemas have priority because obviously a bunch of people aren't going to go to the cinema if they can just watch it at home. Like, I understand that argument. I'm a bit of a film not purist. It's just that personally, I don't want to live in a world where cinemas don't exist, right? And that is, well, that's important because, like, none of us know what's going to happen after lockdown and how restrictions will be implemented in places where you usually get crowds. But it is crazy that this company, like that Universal, would just come out and go, yeah, we're just going to fucking screw over the global cinema like industry. I mean, these things happen. What's your opinion, mate? I mean, you don't need to know the details of the story. Just how soon, if they said tomorrow, yeah, you can go to a cinema, would you go to one?
Well, I haven't gone to the cinema in about 6 years.
Oh, really?
So I couldn't really care less, to be perfectly honest.
So,
because the films I want to watch don't get put in the cinema anyway.
Really?
But I have zero interest in watching the blockbusters.
Oh.
Because all the films I want are like kind of small indie films. Or like films that they're never going to get mainstream appeal.
So everything...
Like, it's sad to see them go, but like, it doesn't affect me at all.
Right. So all the films that I've or themes that I've brought up are basically not your bag. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah. I mean, because like, all of my favourite films, none of them have ever been on in the cinema, that I think,
right.
And they never will. They're all kind of. I like cult. I like I can't remember the last film I watched in the cinema I legitimately enjoyed.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you because that's a very controversial statement. Right, so you've got to come up with the cult theme podcast edition of the Final Cut Half Cut because I am way too mainstream, mate. I've got an opinion. I've got a very big ego. Like, that's the only reason why anybody starts a fucking podcast in the first place is that they believe someone out there will be stupid enough to want to listen to them. Because
I assume no one gives a fuck what I think.
I give a fuck what you think, mate. That's why you're numero.
And that was your first mistake.
Right. Yeah. Well, too late now.
Yeah.
So
you're locked in.
Yeah. Literally. Right. So you haven't seen anything at cinema for 6 years, which is
probably longer.
Okay. I don't respect that because I think some films need to be experienced in a larger like in a cinema experience. You get a full bass, full audio experience, full field of peripheral vision. You know, I'm a big fan. I will never say my favourite film reviewer is Mark Kermode. I just think he just is the Roger Ebert of our time. And
shout out to Mark Kermode.
I like
Shout
him.
out to Mark Kermode.
And he has a real problem with people that don't go to see things in cinemas. He has a real problem with even reviewers that will review a film, but they just get sent the DVD or get sent the file or whatever. So I would say let's go to the cinema when we can, Nick, and just do that. But with good films, with good art house, cult cinema that we can get into. But are you up for doing a potential Nick's top 5 cult film extravaganza bit at some point?
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I don't think anyone will enjoy the film.
What? Give us the vibe. Give us an idea of it.
Number 1, Battle Royale.
Oh yeah, that's not fucking. Come on, that's one of the best films of all time.
Has your mum watched Battle Royale?
Okay, fine, yeah, all right.
Again, these are like the beginner level.
Yeah.
Like Old Boy.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Simply for Lady Vengeance.
Okay, I haven't seen that. What's that about?
It's the director of Old Boy.
Oh right, okay, yes.
Yeah.
Any more?
Geez. From Beyond.
Right. What's that
You know?
about?
Zombies.
Oh, okay.
Reanimator.
Right, From Beyond.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a porno version from that called From Behind.
Good for you. The other From Beyond.
Yeah.
H.P. Lovecraft. But it's the thing, like, the films I enjoy, they're kind of shit.
Well, they sound like Southeast Asian horror movies.
Half of those. Well, I mean, Reanimator is Reanimator.
Right.
I
Reanimator.
assume you've watched Reanimator.
I haven't. No, I don't know.
You've not watched Reanimator?
No. What's it about?
Oh, bro. It's about Dr. West, and he can bring people back to life with his reanimation.
Okay, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, 1985 horror comedy.
Yeah, bro.
The font on the yeah, it's already getting me. Okay, look. So From Beyond, Reanimator. What was that other film that you said?
Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. Also the other From Beyond.
Right. Why is there two?
One of them is like a Italian zombie film. The other one might not be called From Beyond. Might be The Beyond.
Right, I'm writing down.
Same director as Reanimator.
Oh, cool. So these films have been in art house film festivals and at cinemas. Just they haven't played at an Odeon. That's the difference.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Okay. Well, look. How about I watch From Beyond? Do you really want to talk 3 cult films, or do you want to do? Yeah, let's do 3 cult classics that you want to pick.
I'm just saying, if each episode would be about 2 hours long, or each.
Well, I mean,
I could talk about these films forever.
Oh, I mean, I want to structure it. I mean, so what can you? Right. How about this? We come at it from the opposite angle. You're the moderator, and you're asking me as a noob what I thought of these 3 films that you absolutely adore. But we're going to try and keep it within an hour for these 3 films, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it was From Beyond, Reanimate, and what's the one with the old boy director?
Sympathy for Lady Vengeance.
Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. Okay. Right, well that's my homework then.
Nice.
Awesome. Got any other lockdown activities, Nick? You keeping busy?
I'm not keeping busy at all. I've been playing Football Manager for a very long time, and it's beginning to make me slightly anti-Semitic. Because I've been playing I'm managing a team in Israel,
right?
And I've gotten so angry at my board. Like, they're not giving me any funding. I can't make any transfers. I've lost all my players. I now hate these people, and it's ruining me. So hopefully, I'll manage another team, get myself together, become less anti-Semitic.
Yeah, try and remember that the motivations of a AI within a console game are purely doing things based on obviously the actual algorithm that the game is programmed on, but in that moment, if you're fantasizing about the reality of this, they're doing it because they're capitalists, not because of their race or religion. So
it's not that. It's just the board needs to give me some goddamn money.
Okay.
I'm working wonders with this team.
Right.
They're not giving me nothing.
You're turning water into wine, and they don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I wish you luck with your quarantine Israel football team. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
The thing that you're doing, the Football Manager. I'm planning on making raspberry champagne. That's how random I've got.
Up.
Yep.
You're changing the game up.
That's it, mate. One raspberry champagne at a time. But let's continue. Let's continue reviewing film stuff. Next episode. Do you want to do that as the next episode, Nick? Is that a challenge for next week? Can I get on that, or do you want me to do? So I've got one. I've got.
Just watch Reanimator.
Right. So just watch that. So we'll do Reanimator next week. Cult classic edition.
Rest in peace, Stuart Gordon.
Yes. I will research who that is, and then I will also care about that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nicholas, it's been great talking to you once again.
Take it easy.
Nice one.
And thank you for the one person that is listening to this.
Yeah.
You mean the world to us.
It's me, again, getting drunk, listening back to my own voice.
I was going to say, because I'm not listening to this.
I don't expect you to. You're the rock and roll sidekick that comes along. You sort of you come along, you slam dunk it every time, Nick. See, I compliment you so you keep coming back.
I'm walking, I've got shades on.
Exactly.
Indoors constantly.
You kick over a chair and you go, yo, and then you walk back out.
You know how I do.
Exactly. Much love. Take care, Nick. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.